very strange to be standing up in front of like colleagues and friends that I've worked with for decades. It is so great to see you. I feel like it's a play date for Janie. Woohoo! Thank you for being here today. This is a very exciting moment for myself and my team and all of us here at Microsoft. We are now in the moment of AI. Sometimes it's a little exciting. Sometimes it's a little scary. You ready, Trevor? Here comes my joke. Okay, here it comes. But you know what? Honestly, the humans are in charge. And that's what this whole thing is about, is ensuring that the humans are in charge. And you know how I know that the humans are in charge? Because my mom told me that if the technology isn't working, you know what you do? You just go down and you unplug it. Then you got it. It's good. Was it good? Okay, thanks. Okay, thank you. Thank you. But honestly, it's been a pleasure to work with so many of you over so many years. A lot of pleasure, a lot of pain, a lot of pleasure in all of that work. But we share a huge commitment to the young people in the state so that they will grow up in the wonderful place that we call Washington State, where they can live, learn, work, play, the way we all have, the way we have learned to love this community. The AI moment for a lot of you started 2.5 years ago. I don't know if any of you were here. We had this big event called the AI in the Community event. And it was kind of like, here's this thing, here's what it is. We talked about responsible use, and it was a little eye-opening for a lot of us. But what's unique, it was the first of its kind. And we replicated that event all over the world and got a lot of feedback, and a lot of feedback that has led us to this place where we are today. I love that video of the kids from Quincy, Washington, full of hope, curiosity, and fun. And our conversation, our work ahead is all about them. Hopefully they're not really using AI right now, but we are developing the future that they will inherit. And it's our role to make sure it's great and safe and wonderful for them. So today's agenda, we're gonna have Brad Smith. He's my boss, so you all have to be really nice to him. But he's gonna come up and talk a lot about this AI opportunity for the state as a whole. And then I'm very, very excited to have a panel come up with my new friend and my new colleague, because I'll be on a show, Trevor Noah, and he will be having a fireside chat with 3 of our best. Kelly Aramaki from Bellevue School District, Sarah Tweedy from Big Bend College, and Trish Jazico, the founder of Technology Access Foundation. And after that, Trevor and Hadi Partovi, another one of our great colleagues in this community, will talk about the hour of AI and just they both have huge passion in education, and they'll share that a little bit with all of you. So with that, let's get started. Brad, over to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for coming this afternoon. Welcome to the newest part of our new campus. These buildings have been opening over the last year or so, but the building that you're in here and the one just across the way has only been open for a couple of weeks. I know for some of you, it took you a while to find it. You're not the first. We had our first board of directors meeting just a couple of weeks ago in the building across the way, and it took some of them a while to find it as well. So, but now that you know where it is, you're always welcome, and we'll hope to have you back. And this building especially has been really designed to bring in people, customers and others for events, including like this. I want to say before I get started, a welcome to all the public leaders who are here today as well. The state legislators that are here, the state superintendent, we have the King County Interim Executive Director, we have a former governor whose name doesn't make it on this, but believe me, she's always here. And so a huge thank you to all of you for what you do for our state. Thank you. Before I talk about what we're announcing and sharing today, I want to put it in a little bit of context. For more than a century, Washington State has punched above its weight. Technology has changed every decade, and so many times this state has been at the forefront of a lot of this technological change. It led the way literally for the nation when it came to aviation and aerospace. It led the way with digital technology, not just with Microsoft, but with Amazon, with great startups, with the University of Washington. It's pioneered, I think, what it means to serve people, because so many of the great retailers, not just in the United States, but in the world, were started and still exist here, whether it's a Nordstrom or a Costco or a Starbucks or Amazon meeting people online. In fact, if you look across our state, you really do see great employers everywhere. And that is a lot of what has fueled the economic growth of this state, the prosperity of this state, to turn it into a state now with more than 8 million people. For us, this is our home. And so a big part of what we're doing today is investing in our home. It was 3 months ago today that we announced Microsoft Elevate. We had an event at MoHi to do it. And as we shared then, what we had done was created a new part of the company. Microsoft Elevate literally brings together the parts of Microsoft that have been serving nonprofits and now serve K-12 education and community colleges, not just here in this state, but literally across the country and around the world. It's a global organization. And it brings under one roof our ability to marshal our resources that in many ways are philanthropic, but also commercial. So one of the things that we announced on the 9th of July was a commitment between now and the end of this decade to donate more than $4 billion of cash and technology and services. And to couple that with what is, I think, a unique business model where we grow our work in these fields and then we donate a share of the growth back to the community in all of the ways that we do to support these customer segments. That is what Microsoft Elevate was created to do. We are going to embark, beginning today, with investing in this state, our home state, frankly on a level that will not be matched anywhere else in the world. In no other state, in no other country, will we be devoting the resources per capita that we are devoting to Washington State. And I'll take you a bit through that. But in a sense, I think it's even more important, perhaps, to put this in the moment that we are approaching. 83 days from now, the world will mark a milestone that no one is yet really thinking about. Because 83 days from now, we will start the second quarter of the 21st century. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, because I think it's safe to say that everybody in this room today has been alive for most or all of the first quarter of the 21st century. We've all lived through it together. And in some ways, it feels like it was 25 years ago, and in other ways, I think it probably feels to us that it began just a moment ago, and it's moved forward in just the blink of an eye. It's 25 years that have been marked by such extraordinary change in our country, in this state, around the world, in the world of politics and geopolitics and society and culture. But it's also been 25 years defined in so many ways by constant technological change. It's hard to believe that when the century began, the notion of having a video conference with someone where you could see them on a screen was literally something of science fiction. And for any of you who remembered using a personal computer 25 years ago, watching a video actually required looking at something the size of a postage stamp, because that's all a computer could do. Phones had not yet been smart. They were still used to talk to people, something they seem rarely used for today. Technology has had so many impacts on our lives. Much of it good, but not all of it good. It's opened the door to scientific breakthroughs, including here in Seattle, breakthroughs that have transformed something like the treatment of cancer, something that people now go through with far less fear most of the time than they did when this century began. It has absolutely changed education. It got us through the pandemic, not as well in hindsight as we might have liked, but better than would have been the case without it. It's completely changed the world of work. And it's led oftentimes to not only connections between people, but divides as well. It's raised a host of mental health questions for our children, especially kids in schools. So technology, as we wrote a book to describe, actually is both a tool and a weapon. That will not change. And that's important for us to recognize. But what will change is that we're increasingly moving from a world of digital technology and the cloud to now technology where the frontier every day is defined by advances in AI. In fact, I think it's fair to predict that AI will be one of the most important influences on the next quarter of this century. And the world that people will come to in the year 2050 will in so many ways be shaped, not just by where the technology is going, but as Jane put it so well, where people are going, where we decide to go with the decisions that we make, including, and perhaps especially, in schools, for community colleges, in universities, and with nonprofits. The history of technology tells us that the future is both exciting and will at times be fraught with peril. But almost certainly the parts of the world, the parts of the country, the parts of a state or a community that can harness the power of this new technology will likely fare better than those who do not. The diffusion of technology, especially a general purpose technology like electricity or machine tooling or computing and now AI, will inevitably impact perhaps more than any other technological development who fundamentally prospers in the quarter century ahead. That's worth, at one level, getting enthusiastic about, but it's also worth recognizing something else as well. We risk creating yet another divide. I think many days we get up and we probably think, oh my goodness, we don't have room for another divide. We have so many divides already. But AI will either help us bring people together by creating more and broader opportunity for everyone, or it will exacerbate every divide that we have already. Now, when we look at the data, and we do have really good data at Microsoft, not just here, but globally, and our AI for Good Lab makes good use of it. What we see in the United States is fundamentally two things. One is when you look at AI usage on a per capita basis, most of the states are pretty similar. In most states, roughly 30 or 29 or 32% of the population is using generative AI. But what looks like a uniform country on a state-by-state basis looks vastly different when you look at it at the county level instead. And that, in fact, is what we see in this state as well. For example, here is a map of Washington State, and what you see are 4 counties all bordering on the eastern shore of Puget Sound, where AI usage is already above 30%. Snohomish County leads the way with 35%. But at the same time, there are 7 other counties where AI usage is below 10%. In fact, Ferry County is the lowest. It's only 2.5%. As a company here at Microsoft that basically adopted Ferry County to bring broadband to that county, that's not entirely a surprise, because one needs connectivity to make use of AI. And we can look at this and say, well, you know, everybody should have the right, they obviously do, to decide what they want to do with their time. Maybe folks who live along Puget Sound just prefer to use AI and spend more time at their computer. There might be a little bit of that, but I think there's a lot more than that as well. Because fundamentally, what we're seeing is not only a technology gap. What we're really seeing is an opportunity gap. What we're seeing is students in some counties, in some parts of the state, having more access to this technology than their counterparts elsewhere in the state. And when we look at it in these terms, this isn't about getting everyone to use AI, but to create an opportunity so that everyone can make that choice and put it to work for themselves in the way that they want. That is fundamentally the mission of Microsoft Elevate. And it is the mission of what we will do in this state with Microsoft Elevate Washington. So there's specific groups that we will take new steps to serve. It starts with the 295 school districts and 34 community colleges in this state. As you all know, because many of you work in these institutions today, they are not only critical for the future of this state, they are complicated. They are expensive. It's not just students that they're serving, it's facilities that they're running. It's school buses in some respects that they're operating. There's a lot that goes into running a school district and a community college. And as you all know, these are not easy times to manage one of these institutions. The budgets are never as plentiful as people would like. But this is where AI, we believe, can help. And one of the things we're announcing today is that we will provide free of charge for all 295 school districts and for all 34 community colleges a product we have called Copilot Studio. It's a product that organizations can use to develop AI applications and AI agents that can do things like help automate budget planning, bring more insights into data analysis, identify and drive efficiencies in the management of facilities, start to think about how to equip teachers and faculty with a broader capability to access AI. And in addition to that, we're creating a cash grant program that will provide cash for consulting services for 10 school districts and 10 community colleges so they can get to work quickly and really develop innovative approaches to the use of AI. All so they can start to learn through doing new things, and then we can all come together so that every school district and every community college can benefit from what some of the earliest adopters are creating. That is a foundation for everyone across this state. Then, of course, I think you get to the heart of the matter. Educators, teachers, faculty, especially as we focus on it in the state's high schools, grades 9 through 12, and the state's community colleges. Because if there's one thing that we've learned through all the work that Jane described, it is this: when we invest in teachers, we invest in students. And when we invest in teachers, we invest in the future of the state as a whole. And already we've seen over the last 2 years with the partnerships we've been pursuing at the national level, including with the National Education Association and the American Federation for Teachers, just how creative teachers can be when they're given the opportunity to use AI and come together to experiment and innovate. What they can do in creating lesson plans that are more customized for different groups of kids. What they can do to accelerate their work to prepare for class. What they can do to help even grade something like a math test. Ultimately, AI, we believe, is a fundamentally powerful tool that can free up time for teachers so teachers can do more of what got them into teaching in the first place. Spend time with kids. And so we're excited to launch here in Washington State a new professional development and training initiative in partnership with the Office of the Superintendent for Public Instruction, OSPI, in partnership with school districts and others, to focus on professional development opportunities in this state for educators, faculty, and staff, to support a statewide K-12 AI Innovation Summit that OSPI is leading, to bring to all 34 community colleges AI boot camps so faculty will have broader access to these tools. We've been working across the country with the American Association of Community Colleges, and with that experience under our belt, we have insights that we can now deploy in these institutions, which, as you all know, play such an important role in the health and vitality and development of the Washington State economy. And then, of course, there's the people that this is all for at the end of the day. It's students. It's the kids of tomorrow and the workers of today. Because we need to serve students of all ages as the world transitions to the use of AI. So in part, what we're doing is rolling out a new program for high schools. We're not seeking to bring AI to first graders or even eighth graders, but this is the time we believe that this technology is ready to be deployed in a responsible way for the high school students of this state. And so what we'll be providing next year is up to 3 years of free access to every high school student in all 295 school districts in this state of our Copilot technology, our Copilot chat, new technology that we are developing and completing this year that will work with teams for education and provide new learning tools for kids. And by the way, I know that starting tomorrow, we are going to get phone calls from people in 49 other states. And I'll just say, this is a good day to live in the state where this company calls Washington home. And in the same vein, we're rolling out already today for every community college student in the state the free usage of what we call M365 Copilot, our most powerful Copilot technology, so that they can use that together with our M365 apps and Teams for Education free of charge. So we have a lot that we believe we can bring to people, and we're excited about it. You don't work at a company like this and create things like this without being excited about sharing things like this. But more important than the technology is, as Jane said, the people. And the most important people are the people like you in this room. Because what we need to do is be thoughtful. We need to move quickly, but be careful at the same time. Above all else, we need to take a principled approach to the development, the diffusion, the distribution, and use of this new technology. We need to be grounded in data, and we need to understand together the answers to the important questions that, frankly, many of you have long been working to address. It's not as if this is the first day of AI. We already have a third of the state's population using it. And it's not as if this is the first day that the questions here are being thought about by education and workforce leaders here in Washington State, by leaders in this room. But as this goes forward, perhaps as much as anything else, the broader diffusion of this technology creates a platform for the conversations that we can have together. What will the jobs of tomorrow require? What will they require in different sectors of the economy that our community colleges support? What will they require for all of today's high school kids to be able to enter the workforce of tomorrow with a clear understanding behind them? When is the right time to use AI in schools? And when is the wrong time? Because you won't hear Microsoft stand up and say, oh, every time is a good time. This is all about creating AI so it's a tool to help people be smarter, more successful, more compassionate and understanding of the people they spend time with. And in order to ensure that AI serves those needs, we need to think hard about when we should use it and when we should not, how we should use it and how we should not. What are the guardrails that we need? What are the guardrails that we need to create at this company as we bring these tools to people? What are the guardrails that are needed in schools and community colleges? These are the kinds of questions that every school is going to need to think about. These are the kinds of questions that every parent should care about. And so one of the great opportunities we have, we believe, with this endeavor is to bring us all together. From those of you who lead these kinds of institutions, who support teachers, to all of us who are or were or want to be or at least benefited from having a parent in our lives, so that the parents of tomorrow are involved as well. I would conclude by saying this: we know that we don't have all the answers. That's why we invited all of you. We know that even put together, we all don't yet have the answers that the future is going to require. The world will not benefit by putting tech companies in charge of education. We know our place. Education policy is set by people who are elected by people to be the superintendent of public instruction, or to serve on a school board, or to be the governor of the state. We know that we need to serve this state, that we need to play a supporting role, and perhaps above all else, to do what we do best, provide technology that can be of service to this state and the future of it, but to do it with a broad collective effort, where we get to introduce what we have and we all get to learn together. And you all can make the decisions that the leaders of this state will need to make, and we can continue to make sure that Washington State, as much or more than any state in this country, is a state that not only produces the technology of tomorrow, but provides it to the people who will shape the state's future. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's great. I love what you said about we punch above our weight. People have told me that in my life. So I like that. I think we're all ready for the challenge. What do you think? Yeah. The good news, Brad, is that so many people in this room have been on this path for a very long time and doing incredible things. Whether it's the Quincy School District, who's part of a national AI cohort, whether it is, where's Superintendent Reichel? There he is. The incredible work that you did right out the gate to issue guidance to all of our schools. He was one of the first in the country to do that. That's great leadership. Microsoft did an AI for Good grant, and we have some of the winners are actually in this room. They're innovating, they're trying different things around education and science and research and development. Let's see, we have WSU and UW and the Evergreen Goodwill and Big Brothers Big Sisters, just to name a few. The AI for Innovators, this is a partnership that we've been doing with OSPI and the 9 education service districts around the state. We already have a cohort of people in each of those ESDs that are out working with teachers in their respective districts. 2,000 teachers have already been trained through that process. And we have 11 community colleges that have already gone through an AI boot camp. So we are well on our way. I'm really excited about all of this. I think the thing for all of us is to, or I guess my hope, is that we really join in and create a community of practice. Those are like wonky, you educators love that word, I know. Community of practice. It's so great, but it's true. It means we're all working together, we're learning, we're innovating, we're trying, we're failing, and we're working together. So a couple of things that I just wanted to note. We've established a steering committee that will help guide this work forward. We had our very first meeting today. We had a little lunch, it was great. And I'm gonna give you their names because I want all of you to give them feedback about what this work should be over the next couple of years. But I'm very excited. We have Chris Reichdahl and Susan Lathrop from OSPI who will partake. From WEA, we have Larry Delaney and Jim Meadows. From the governor's office, we have Heather Hudson and Bo Perschbacher. From WASAC, which is the Washington Student Achievement Council, we have Mike Miotti. And from the State Board of Community and Technical Colleges, we have Nate Humphrey. And representing the nonprofits, we have Washington STEM with Lynn Varner. And so these are the people that will help guide our work moving forward. And we're gonna do it in partnership. I'm very, very excited about that and very committed to doing that with all of you.